Ion selective electrodes. Ion selective electrodes are also known as ion specific electrodes. The basic structure of the ion selective electrodes requires a membrane. Because the potential difference generated in these ion selected electrodes is due to the specific ions. These ions are separated by these membranes. The basic structure of ion selected electrodes is composed of three components. One is a membrane, the other is an electrode, and the most important is a voltmeter. The membrane creates the impermeability for different ions. Voltmeter determines the potential difference, and electrode is the important part of the ion selective electrode. Most common example of ion selective electrodes is a glass electrode. Glass electrode is made up of amorphous glass silicate. ग्लास में सिलिकॉन का एटम 4 ऑक्सीजन के एटम के साथ अटैच होता है and it forms a tetrahedral structure. Basically, glass is an irregular network of these tetrahedral structures, and this is not planar. And these structures contained potassium, sodium, calcium, and lithium ions. These ions are positively charged. The most important part of the ion selective electrodes is its glass. Its glass is made up of very fine glass. It is a very fine membrane glass. There is no speciality in the preparation of this glass membrane, but the glass membrane is used in a way that it is useful or beneficial for the selection of specific ions. As we know that there are sodium, potassium, lithium, and calcium positively charged ions present in the membranes. These ions are replaced by the hydrogen ions when this bulb is placed in an acidic solution. Bulb of glass electrode. Bulb of glass electrode is made up of very fine glass membrane, and there are 3 parts of the glass membrane if we look at its transverse section as shown in the next slide. The outer membrane is known as gel layer, and the inner membrane is also known as gel layer. These gel layer are very fine and are of very small size, that is about a 1000 angstrom. When we dip this glass electrode into an acidic solution, what happens is the protons replaces the sodium, potassium, lithium, and calcium ions which are positively charged, and therefore a potential difference is created, and this potential difference is determined by the electrode. That is how this electrode or the glass electrode is sensitive to protons. The other type of ion selective electrode is potassium sensitive electrode. This is a very special type of electrode in which we use ionophores. Ionophores are basically the compounds which facilitate the movements of certain ions. In this case, valinomycin is used. Valinomycin is a natural antibiotic. It is produced by streptomyces and it is a decapeptide. It is circular in shape and it contains D and L amino acids and lactic acids. It has a very tight internal structure. The potassium ion can easily fit into this circular structure. Therefore, valinomycin could transport the potassium ion. Those membranes which are made for the potassium sensitive electrodes, in those membranes valinomycin is added, and only the potassium ions could be transported through those membranes. Another type of ion selective electrode is ion exchange electrode. In these electrodes we use different type of resin. ये resin 2 तरह के होते हैं. One is an anion exchanger and other is a cation exchanger. ये exchanger ion exchanger membranes में impregnated कर दिए जाते हैं और आम तौर पे इनकी applications water purification के लिए होती है. लेकिन ये बात एक याद रखनी है कि ये ion selected electrodes और membranes ज़्यादा stable नहीं होते. So we can say the ion selected electrodes are the sensor which sensor the specific ions. The important component of an ion selected electrode is the membrane. Different ions, molecules and resins such as sodium, potassium, valinomycin, anion exchanger and cation exchanger are used for the production of selective membranes. There are many applications of these ion-selected electrodes in all fields of life.